Yes. This is our siege. We are making some progress. We want more universal cities free and outside. Climate change is allowed. Sometimes daily frosts. Sometimes we are making some heavyweight in like a textile and our product. It's growing. This week is always special. Meaning another I'll be speaking at the disabled person panel later. Thank you very much for your time. I'd like to thank you for all the support, agenda, there is a number of initiatives.
Now, Her Excellency Igor Lukšić, Deputy Prime Minister and Ministers for Foreign Affairs from Montenegro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by pointing out that there is an obvious need to incorporate the issues of persons with disabilities in the clearly defined goals of the post-2015 development agenda. Besides the fact that the most vulnerable population group includes over 1 billion people, out of which vast majority lives in developing countries, the defined Millennium Development Goals did not offer a framework that reflects their needs and rights. Thus, disability is not strongly represented in MDGs implementation, nor in the national programs related to MDGs. Now the international community has the possibility to finally overcome some of the mistakes made in the past and through the post-2015 agenda to enable persons with disabilities to take the role they should rightfully play as active participants in a society, as well as users of benefits resulting from all aspects of development. By observing the standard rules on equalization of opportunities for persons with disabilities and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, as well as the Millennium Development Goals, Montenegro is responsibly tackling the issues of persons with disabilities and their undisturbed inclusion in all social flows. We are continuously working on creating the conditions that will ensure greater level of justice and equality for these persons. We have created a national strategic, legislative and institutional framework and adopted a strategy for integration of persons with disabilities for the period of 2008-2016, which is successfully implemented. Ladies and gentlemen, the identified economic interest of inclusion of persons with disabilities into social and economic flows requires implementation of well-designed policies in the field of employment of these persons. Our responsible approach means that the governments and local communities need to implement programs of professional rehabilitation and training aimed at the unemployed persons who face problems and obstacles in employment, thus contributing to the higher level of capacity to work, as well as improved skills and knowledge of persons with disabilities, providing this way for preventive action with regard to their long-term unemployment. Ladies and gentlemen, successful implementation of the equality principle into the post-2015 development agenda requires significant transformation of public perception regards persons with disabilities, as well as views and behavior of the communities towards the particular position of this population group. It is necessary to ensure efficient participation of the persons with disabilities in the preparation, implementation and supervision of a realization of the post-2015 development agenda. This will create possibilities for these persons to become directly involved in the activities implemented by the international partners in this area. Stronger partnership between the Member States, international organizations, private sector, civil society and all other stakeholders will enable persons with disabilities to take the place that rightfully belongs to them in the post-2015 development agenda. In this demanding process, in the interest of all of us, Montenegro will continue to be a devoted and reliable partner to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
to je da smo da primimo znanju predlog premijerske deklaracije, da provjerimo u vladama i podrži čitavu priču i da pomogne. Prilike kad smo razjasnili da možemo sad da idemo stvarno praktično, to je da pokušamo. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and honored to co-chair this roundtable discussion of the special event of the President of the General Assembly on the Millennium Development Goals. This special event is unique. We are intensifying our efforts to accelerate the achievement of the MDGs by the 2015 target date, while also embarking on the post-2015 development process. Your participation in this roundtable will be an important contribution to both. As you are aware, each of the 4 roundtables in this special event will address the same theme. We will focus on gaps and weaknesses of the MDGs, accelerating their implementation, and looking forward to the post-2015 United Nations Development Agenda. Excellencies, over the past decade, the Millennium Development Goals have generated unprecedented global efforts to advance development. This has resulted in impressive successes, particularly in poverty reduction. Important gains have also been made in reducing child deaths and in the fight against malaria and tuberculosis. Primary school enrollment has increased significantly. According to our findings and report on achieving the MDGs in 2012, Montenegro is likely to achieve most of the MDGs by 2015. At the same time, progress on the MDGs is uneven and differs sharply between and within countries. Over 1 billion people still live in extreme poverty. Several million children still die each year from preventable causes. The MDG target to reduce maternal mortality remains one of the most off track. Far too many people face serious deprivations in health and education. Negative trends in the process of achieving MDGs related to the eradication of poverty in past years represent a clear sign that efficient and effective social and economic empowerment policies need to be in place in order to protect poor and vulnerable segments of our society, including youth. In my own country, main difficulties have been encountered in achieving goals related to the eradication of poverty, MDG 1, gender equality, MDG 3, environmental sustainability, MDG 7, as well as some targets dealing with education of children in preschools and as well as health protection from NCDs. Based on its experience in the MDGs implementation, Montenegro has actively participated in the process of national consultation on post-2015 development agenda. Outcomes of the national consultations held in Montenegro formed the platform for our work in the Open Working Group on SDGs, as well as set guidelines for revision of national strategy for sustainable development. In order to achieve commitments stemming from Rio Plus 20 summit, we are fully committed to further strengthen the national strategy and define and quantitatively express what Montenegro wants to attain by 2020 and 2030 respectively. Future SDGs should be flexible enough to be applicable to all levels of our society. We strive to set coherent goals which would incorporate all 3 dimensions of sustainable development. I'm pleased also to announce that the Center for Sustainable Development will commence its work on January 1st, 2014 as part of the activities carried out in the cooperation with UN system in Montenegro. We hope that it will be soon recognized as an important mechanism, not only at the national and regional levels, but also internationally as part of the post-Rio Plus 20 network of sustainable development centers. Distinguished delegates, accelerating progress towards the MDGs is essential for meeting the commitments made by world leaders at the 2000 Millennium Summit. In the 850 days remaining until 2015, special attention should be given to the targets that are most off track and to the countries most in need. We need a stronger emphasis on reaching the poorest and most marginalized communities and groups. The principles and values enshrined in the Millennium Declaration provide a solid foundation for the post-2015 development agenda and for joining the quest for poverty eradication and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, the global community faces a great challenge in accelerating the MDGs and setting the course for a bold yet practical post-2015 development agenda. Succeeding in this endeavor will make a difference for millions and millions of people around the world and prove that global solidarity and multilateralism can point the direction to the future. I count on your creative thinking and commitment, and I look forward to a productive discussion. Thank you.
Very nice meeting you. We appreciate the ability to finally set the goal of trying to establish a diplomatic relationship with all the countries in the world. Normally, we belong to.
It is a great honor to address this timely and important meeting on such a vital and ever relevant topic of nuclear disarmament. I am pleased to note that the international community recognized the need to gather at the highest level in order to once more try to find a way to move closer and faster to the path to zero. That is a common goal, and we have to share responsibility and join our efforts to reach it. It is needless to remind on devastating consequences of the use of nuclear weapons, which in all its forms present a threat to every living being on Earth. The risk becomes even greater when considering global threats such as international nuclear terrorism. I am confident that this is the time to take bold and decisive action, not only on nuclear disarmament, but also on nuclear non-proliferation, as these two aspects are inseparable. The humanitarian approach to nuclear disarmament started in Oslo earlier this year is becoming ever more relevant. The open-ended working group on advancing multilateral disarmament negotiations has been meeting in Geneva throughout the last few months and recently concluded its work. This high-level meeting of the General Assembly brings an added value to the renewed attention and efforts of the General Assembly regarding the issue of nuclear disarmament. Against this backdrop, we have witnessed persistent failure and continuing stalemate in the Conference of Disarmament, which has been, to quote UN High Representative on Disarmament, sleepwalking through an increasingly changing world without any prospect for resuming its substantive work, end of quote. It is necessary to underline the need for breaking the deadlock on CD so that negotiations on the fissile material cut-off treaty and other important instruments could commence. There is also a need to enable the expansion of membership of the CD in order to increase its visibility. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty has yet to enter into force. It is obvious that if we strive to make the world without nuclear weapons, nuclear tests must stop once and for all. Rather limited progress in implementing obligations emerging from the outcome documents of the NPT review conferences in 2000 and 2010 has contributed to the broadly shared sentiment of disappointing results in nuclear disarmament. Montenegro will continue to advocate for the entry into force of the CTBT without delay. Madam Chair, in achieving our ultimate objective, general and complete disarmament under strict and international control, we have on our disposal all the tools and measures. What is needed is a firm demonstration of political will and leadership to initiate frank and transparent discussion in order to overcome differences and build trust and confidence. The winning card to achieve progress in this regard is step-by-step process within global and non-discriminatory multilateral framework. It is our firm belief that success is only achievable through the engagement of all the UN members, agencies, and other relevant international organizations. Montenegro will remain committed to creating a world of peace and security free of nuclear weapons. Thank you.
Danas, pored učešća na nekoliko okruglih stolova koji su prije svega vezani za tematiku Ujedinjenih nacija, dakle, nuklearnog razoružanja, odnosno našeg istupa po prvi put kao zemlja članica grupe prijatelja medijacije. Važna inicijativa unutar Ujedinjenih nacija. Organizovali smo i dva, rekao bih, radna sastanka koja su, dakle, prije svega vezana za naše regionalne integracione procese. Jedan je bio sastanak zemalja Američko-Jadranske povelje i Baltičke povelje, jer ove godine, dakle, obilježavamo 10 godina od uspostavljanja Jadranske povelje, a 15 godina od uspostavljanja Baltičke povelje kao okvira koji je služio veoma korisno za pripremu zemalja za članstvo NATO. I drago mi je da su praktično svi ministri prisustvovali, imali smo jedan broj gostiju i na taj način obezbijedili prisustvo ne samo Sjedinjenih država, već i pomoćnika generalnog sekretara NATO-a, ali i zemlje posmatrača kako su Gruzije i Kosovo. I razgovarali o mogućnostima da unapredimo saradnju naših zemalja, zato što je jako puno prostora da se sarađuje i ono što su, da kažem, bili bezbjednosni izazovi ili, rekao bih, potreba izgradnje odgovarajuće bezbjednosne strukture u baltičkim zemljama jako puno liči na ono što mi treba dalje da radimo, imajući u vidu da je naš proces u toku, da smo, rekao bih, jako posvećeni svim preostalim prioritetima kada je NATO u pitanju, a na bazi jednog dobrog iskustva koje imaju naše zemlje susjedstva, Hrvatska i Albanija, koje su ušle u NATO. Drugi sastanak je bio posvećen zapadno-balkanskoj temi, zato što je očigledna potreba da unutar regiona u okviru već postojeće regionalne inicijative procesa saradnje definišemo jedan vid posebnog formata ili dodatnog formata saradnje koji bi ubrzao, omogućavajući tješnju saradnju zemalja u regionu, naš evropski put. Dakle, svi su saglasni da je budućnost zemalja regiona u Evropskoj uniji i sve žele da zemlje Zapadnog Balkana budu u Evropskoj uniji što je moguće prije. I to podrazumijeva veoma ozbiljnu agendu. Dakle, agendu koja se tiče unutrašnjih reformi, ali i agendu koja se tiče ekonomskog oporavka. Dakle, ta dva procesa moraju da idu zajedno i ukoliko nemamo ekonomski oporavak, bit će mnogo teže ispunjavati, da kažem, institucionalne obaveze. Iz tog razloga postoji potreba da one zemlje koje još nisu u Evropskoj uniji, uz podršku zemalja koje jesu u Evropskoj uniji iz našeg regiona, radimo na dizajniranju modela kako bi mogli ubrzati realizaciju infrastrukturnih projekata, kako bi mogli olakšati našim građanima i privredi kroz smanjivanje transakcionalnih troškova život i rad, odnosno kako bi dodatno mogli da ustanovimo modele saradnje u borbi protiv organizovanog kriminala. I na taj način još jednom ubrzamo naš evropski put, pri čemu niko ne dovodi u pitanje da svaka zemlja ima svoj pojedinačni put prema Evropi, ima pojedinačne zadatke, bit će ocjenjivana pojedinačno i to ne treba posmatrati kao bilo kakvu novu politiku Evropske unije odnosno na Balkanu. Dakle, mi ćemo biti u Evropi onoliko brzo koliko smo spremni da obaveze koje su pred nama brzo ispunjavamo. I to je jasno. I okolnost da se pripremamo za otvaranje poglavlja 23 i 24 uz to još 5, a im znamo da smo 2 zatvorili i da nas naredne očekuje godine još otvaranje nekoliko poglavlja, ukazuje da smo mi već duboko u tom procesu. I, dakle, potvrđuje da Evropska unija prema zemljama regiona zadržava princip zasluga, što znači da oni koji su uspješni i realizuju proces treba da na neki način budu dobar primjer ostalima kako i oni mogu da realizuju svoje integracione ciljeve. Naš neposredni primjer je Hrvatska. Ona je ušla u Evropsku uniju i mi treba sada da iskoristimo nju kao neku vrstu mosta, jer njihovo integracione iskustvo je najsličnije našem i da promovišemo to u našem regionu. Ali vjerujem da postoje mogućnosti da ubrzamo taj naš put, jer ukoliko se suočimo sa ovim praktičnim potrebama, onda mislim da tu svi zajedno možemo izvući samo vrlo konkretnu korist. Dakle, mi imamo interes da, imajući u vidu kapacitete naše ekonomije, dođemo do inovativnih modela finansiranja velikih infrastrukturnih projekata. Istovremeno, veliki projekti mega infrastrukture podrazumijevaju povezivanje najmanje 2 ili 3 zemlje i to jeste neka dobra potpora. Čitav niz ovih drugih konkretnih stvari koje sam pominjao, i od ukidanja roaminga, recimo u regionu, ili olakšanje carinskih procedura, ili priznavanje diploma i tako dalje, ubrzavaju, odnosno ne samo da olakšavaju život našim građanima neposredno, već prosto i uštede novac, štede vrijeme, štede energiju. Kad bi to preračunali i kad bi taj, recimo, kapital mogli uložiti ili novac uložiti u recimo, podršku malim i srednjim preduzećima, začudili bi se koliko bi narasli fondovi na nivou regiona podrške otvaranju radnih mjesta. Generalno mislim da je ukupno gledano medijska interpretacija ne samo u Crnoj Gori, nego u mnogim zemljama regiona otišla u pogrešnom pravcu. I čini mi se da je korisno da kroz više susreta isfiltriramo ono što su eventualno dileme i da pokušamo da što je moguće pragmatičnije stvar pozicioniramo. Dakle, mi nemamo ambiciju da kreiramo nove organizacije, nove institucije i tako dalje. Imamo ambiciju da bolje uposlimo ove postojeće, tipa Regionalni savjet za saradnju kao izvršno tijelo koje koordinira regionalnim inicijativama treba da bude potpora za ovu inicijativu, odnosno ovu ideju. Druge zemlje procesa saradnje, dakle, koje su već u Europskoj uniji, treba također da nam pomognu i u odgovarajući način treba da izgradimo mostove. Tako da mislim da je dobro što se na neki način tema pojavila na dnevnom redu, da su svi vrlo zainteresovani da u tome participiraju i očigledno jedna dinamika koja je od skoro na tu temu pokazuje da je tako nešto bilo nužno. Jer nekako smo svi živjeli s uvjerenjem da nismo zadovoljni kako regionalna saradnja funkcioniše i pojava raznih predloga mislim da je isprovocirala jednu veoma kvalitetnu raspravu. I ukoliko uspijemo identifikovati ono što su nam koristi u tom smislu i budemo pragmatično se odnijeli, vjerujem da ovo neće biti propuštena šansa.